There is something you did not do because you were afraid of how it would look. A message you did not send. An idea you did not say out loud. A photo you deleted. An outfit you did not wear. A version of yourself you kept hidden because you imagined an entire room watching you. Maybe nobody said anything. Maybe nobody really looked. But inside your head, there was an audience. And that audience had opinions. It laughed. It judged. It remembered your mistakes. It turned every small gesture into evidence. The strange thing is that, most of the time, that audience does not exist. Not in the way you feel it. This video is about one of the quietest psychological prisons, living as if everyone is thinking about you, when almost everyone is too busy thinking about themselves. In psychology, there is a phenomenon called the spotlight effect. It describes our tendency to overestimate how much other people notice us. We believe our mistakes shine. That a stain on our clothes is news. That an awkward sentence stays recorded in everyone's memory. That a post that did not perform says something deep about our worth. But human attention does not work that way. Every person walks inside their own private storm. Their worries, insecurities, desires, and embarrassments take up far more space than your small missteps. You remember your fall because you were inside it. Other people, if they noticed it at all, saw it as a brief scene inside their own mental noise. Your brain does not exaggerate by accident. For thousands of years, being rejected by the group could be dangerous. Belonging meant protection. Being cast out could mean hunger, vulnerability, or death. So the mind learned to monitor social signals with extreme sensitivity. Do they accept me? Am I failing? Did I seem weak? Did I seem strange? That vigilance was useful in small environments where everyone depended on everyone. But today, the same alarm activates in a meeting, in an Instagram story, in an unanswered comment, in a glance that may have meant nothing. Your ancient brain interprets modern moments as tribal threats. The problem is not only feeling embarrassed. The problem is that anticipated embarrassment starts editing your life before you live it. Before speaking, you delete. Before trying, you shrink. Before showing yourself, you calculate. You ask how it will sound, how it will look, what they will think, who might misunderstand it. And little by little, a smaller version of you begins making the decisions. You do not choose what you want to express. You choose what seems hardest to criticize. You do not choose what moves you. You choose what seems safe. That is how a life becomes correct on the outside and repressed on the inside. One of the strongest lies of the spotlight effect is that other people will preserve your mistakes the way you preserve them. But think about the people you saw make mistakes this week. How many details do you remember? How many exact sentences? How many awkward gestures? Probably very few. Not because you do not care about people, but because your mind does not have infinite space. Yet when it comes to you, every mistake feels permanent. Your shame turns seconds into monuments. What was a blink to others becomes a historical archive to you. And that archive begins to govern what you allow yourself to do next. Social media intensifies this phenomenon because it turns life into a visible surface. You no longer only do something. You also imagine how it might look posted, compared, saved, judged. Even when you do not post, you learn to look at yourself from the outside. The camera installs itself in your mind. You begin asking whether your food is interesting, whether your rest looks productive, whether your happiness looks convincing. The most exhausting part is not being watched. It is watching yourself as if you were content. External surveillance becomes internal surveillance. And when that happens, even private moments begin to feel like public tests. Many people are not trying to be extraordinary. They are trying not to seem strange. That is a more subtle prison. Do not say too much. Do not laugh too loud. Do not ask an obvious question. Do not show too much enthusiasm. Do not admit you do not know. Do not dress differently. Do not start late. Do not fail in public. The word normal sounds peaceful, but sometimes it works like an invisible border. It keeps you inside a zone where nobody points at you, but also where nothing deeply yours can breathe. The price of not being judged can be not being truly seen. This may sound harsh at first, but it is liberating. You are not the center of other people's minds. Your mistakes do not have the fame you imagine. Your appearance does not take up that much space. Your decisions are not being analyzed by a secret committee. Most people are trapped inside their own internal movie. They are thinking about how they look, what they said, what they lack, whether they are late, whether they are loved. The same obsession that makes you feel watched is also happening inside everyone else. Everyone believes they are under the spotlight. That is why almost no one is watching with the intensity you fear. There is a strange freedom in accepting that you will be forgotten faster than you fear. Not as a tragedy, but as permission. You can make a mistake and the world will continue. You can sound awkward and the conversation will move on. You can publish something imperfect and life will keep going. You can begin clumsy, because almost no one is recording your first version with the cruelty you use on yourself. Life opens up when you stop demanding that every attempt be a final test of identity. Not everything you do defines who you are. Sometimes you are just practicing being alive. To break the spell, you do not need to become indifferent. You need to verify the story. When you feel everyone is watching, ask, what real evidence do I have? When you imagine judgment, ask, am I reading minds or remembering a wound? When a mistake feels permanent, ask, how many other people's mistakes do I remember with this intensity? And then do one small thing your imaginary audience would disapprove of. Send the message. Ask the question. Wear the outfit. Show the imperfect work. Not to provoke. To teach your nervous system that shame rises, shakes, and then falls. That you can survive being visible. Most of your life is not lost in huge failures. It is lost in invisible micro-cancellations. Things you did not say. Paths you did not try. Parts of yourself you hid to avoid disturbing an audience that may never have been watching. But when you understand the spotlight effect, something changes. Other people's gaze becomes smaller. Your internal space becomes larger. You begin to notice that you do not have to live as evidence in front of an imaginary court. You can be awkward. You can change. You can learn in public. You can exist without turning every gesture into a defense. Because no one is thinking about you as much as you think. And that, even if it feels like a threat to the ego, may be one of the deepest forms of freedom.